Hi, this is Dr. Justin Pariseau from Prairie State College. I'm here today to talk about the Slave Voyages database, an invaluable resource that we as historians can use to try to understand the scope and the scale of the transatlantic slave trade from roughly the 1500s up through the conclusion of the transatlantic slave trade towards the end of the 19th century. The database includes somewhere close to 36,000 records. It's been drawn together from financial records, business records, all kinds of source material that's been pulled together in a single place so that scholars and students of history can try to come to an understanding of exactly how massive the transatlantic slave trade really was and the impact that it had on the global economy. In addition to some basic information about the slave trade that this database can help you to explore, including some maps and timelines and animations that help to illustrate what was going on during the time frame of the transatlantic slave trade. We can also use the database itself to do some specific searches. And if I click on database here, I can show you one example that can illuminate the utility of this database in trying to understand the transatlantic slave trade. If we click on ship, nation, and owner, and click on voyages and vessels, give it a moment to load up here, and click on the vessel name. If I type in Phyllis and hit apply, we should get several returns here for the name of slave ships that were specifically named that, and here we go. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vessels that come back as returns, with the vessel name being Phyllis, and the place where the voyage began. The ship itself was based out of Boston, Massachusetts. During the colonial period, would have been part of the Kingdom of Great Britain, one of the 13 colonies. So if we're looking at specifics within the database, we can narrow it down pretty tightly to specific voyages. And the reason I'm bringing you to this part of the database today is to click on this voyage that ended with the arrival of enslaved individuals in 1761. And that's an important date because the vessel that comes up here, and I'll scroll through so you can see some of the specifics, we have a great degree of detail that's included in these records. This is the same year that Phyllis Wheatley would have arrived in Boston, Massachusetts, arriving in 1761, becoming the property of the Wheatley family. She would go on to publish a book of poetry in 1773 that became her pathway to freedom. And we know a good deal about her life, especially the early years, including her enslavement at about the age of 7 or 8 in West Africa, as well as the voyage in 1761 that we can see here in the Slave Voyages database. So this is a variant on the kind of information that we can draw from the database. We certainly can't find this degree of specificity for all individuals who are alluded to in the database records, but in certain specific cases where we have a lot of information to go off of and cross-referencing certain primary sources, we're able to illuminate more information about specific individuals who were captured in their homelands in West Africa, forced aboard slave ships, and forcibly transported to points in the Americas as part of this horrific traffic in human beings. So I hope you've learned a little bit today about the use of the Slave Voyages database. This is an exciting resource that scholars are using more and more, and hopefully more students will be using this as well as they continue their own research into the transatlantic slave trade. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to talking to you in the next video.